Next we have Part 7, The New Blood, directed by John Carl Buechler in 1988. Stars Kane Hodder as Jason for the first time, who goes on to play Jason in the next three movies. Jason Takes Manhattan, Jason Goes to Hell, and Jason X. I think he's considered like the best Jason, or the most famous Jason. He's played Jason the most. And I like him a lot better than C.J. Graham. Probably probably right on par with Richard Brooker, in my opinion, because that was my first favorite of the sequels, Part 3. In this one, I like the story of it. It's about this girl with telekinesis who, when she's a little girl, well, it starts off like with a prologue. She's a little girl. Her dad and her mom are having a fight. The dad slaps the mom. She runs out of the house, and she's mad at her dad. He's like, "Hey, come back here, come back here." She's running away. She goes out onto the boat, onto the pier, and then there's a boat. She sails it out there a little bit to get away from her dad. And she's so pissed off at him. She's like, stuff starts shaking around at the pier where her dad's standing, and eventually the pier gives away. He falls in the lake, and then that's how he dies. So basically, she grows up feeling like his death is her fault, or at least in the back of her mind, but she still has telekinesis. And like, fast forward, I don't know, in the prologue she's probably what, 7 or 8 maybe, and then she's probably 16 or 17. It's Laura Park Lincoln. So, oh, and by the way, the timeline, gotta mention the timeline. So if Part 6 took place in 1998, and then all of Part 7 took place after Part 6, I'm assuming this whole prologue took place after Tommy, sunk Jason down into the lake. So, alright, 1998, 8 years later, 2006, and then maybe 9 years later, Laura Park Lincoln, teenager, 17 maybe. So that's 2015, the year 2015. So Part 7 takes place in 2015. And it's still got 80s music and 80s fashion. I don't know, I'm just being anal here, but yeah, she's got this psychiatrist played by Terry Kaiser, who played Bernie in A Weekend at Bernie's. He's this real smarmy asshole who's always like feeding her the psychobabble, trying to manipulate her and exploit her basically. His whole ulterior motive for bringing her out there is just to get her to perform. He's telling her she's having all these paranoid delusions. She knows what she's going through is real. She's really doing all this. He keeps blaming it on like guilt feelings about her father, and just like trying to psychoanalyze her constantly instead of like really helping her out with like the situation with Jason, because she goes out to the lake and then I guess feeling guilt about her father, she tries to pull him back up out of the lake, but she pulls the wrong body up out, and of course that's Jason, who starts wreaking havoc, killing people, and he doesn't believe her, basically, and he keeps blaming all these little visions and delusions. They're all just delusions. He doesn't believe anything she's saying. Yet he's setting her up, planting little things to like fuck with her head, like what was it? Some kind of metal shard like stuck into some wood, like on the side of the house, and then she sees it. She thinks Jason put it there. And she goes in, tells her mom. Then he walks in. What, you know, like, where is it? And he's like, it's out there, and then it's gone. Like, he calls them out there, and then the shard's gone, and then like, no, where is it? No, what's happening to me? But come to find out later, he just hid it. He took it and hid it. He's been keeping it like in his desk the whole time, or he's just been playing tricks on her, trying to exploit her. And then eventually Jason shows up, and like I think the doctor, Terry Kaiser, and Lar Park Lincoln's mom, they're running through the forest, or they meet each other in the forest. She finds out that he's been setting her daughter up, and you know, she wants to take her out of the mental treatment or whatever, but he's gonna commit her, and then they just have like a little fight about it. But then Jason shows up, and then he starts, I guess that's when he finally believes, you know, all the visions she had. But when Jason shows up, he uses her mom as a human shield. Jason kills her, and then he ends up getting probably the worst death. You know, he gets what's coming to him. The buzzsaw scene. You know, he gets a buzzsaw cut through his torso, and it's cut. Like a lot of the gore is, you know, cut down, mostly cut out. You don't see a lot of blood, but it's suggested really well by just the music and how, you know, Kane Hodder, the movements Kane Hodder did. And then in the cut scenes, or at least the extended buzzsaw scene, a little bit of intestines come out. So then, I'm like jumping all over the place. I'll get to the end later, hold on, but let me see the gore. You got, okay, Kane Hodder, he comes up behind somebody, stabs his hand through their back, and then like he's got their heart, grabs their heart, and then pushes them out, or he does like this, and then he's got his heart and something like that, but it's cut out, and you can only make out that he took out his heart because the body's laying with a hole there. And then of course the sleeping bag death, and he only bashes it one time on the tree, but in the cut scenes, or the extended scene, he bashes about like 6 or 7 times on the tree, and it gets like really bloody and just increasingly bloody, and it's really nasty. But it's work print footage, so and then I don't know, I couldn't really make out all the kills. I mean, that's the one downside to this movie, because it was so cut out by the MPAA. But Kane Hodder made up for it, you know, with his performance, his body movements. You know, he seemed more pissed off this time around, kind of like Richard Brooker. And I like his makeup job. I like they tried to make him look like all the injuries, everything he'd been through all 8 movies, or let me see, all 6 or 7 movies up to that point. He's got the dent in his head from the axe from part 3. He's got the little hole from the machete right here going into his skull and sliding through his eye. His eyes are distorted. I mean, it looks like a cross between his makeup in part 2 and part 3.